Everybody thinks that superheroes are so tough, but they're just a bunch of romantic softies at heart. Once upon a time, a wizard and a king fell in love. I am not talking about BBC's Merlin, but instead Billy Kaplan and Teddy Altman, or Wiccan and Hulkling. They are one of the sweetest couples being printed today, and many hope they will be making their big screen debut soon if Billy's intro in Wanda Vision as Wanda and Vision's son is anything to go by. It hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows for the boys. One time, an interdimensional parasite called Mother attacked with Loki. While Mother was mothering, Loki put it in the young couple's head that Billy used his reality warping powers to make Teddy like him. Obviously, that isn't the case, and the pair just realized that even if Loki was lying, or that's how it actually started, they're both head over heels now, so who cares? Their love ends up literally saving the day. Hulkling is of royal descent. He is son of male Captain Marvel and the Princess of the Skrulls. Eventually, he becomes king of the Kree and Skrull nations, uniting them together. Wiccan and Hulkling got hitched in 2020 in Empire number 4, and that now makes Wiccan royalty as well. Good for them. I personally have been shipping this next couple since I was 5 years old because I saw them together in Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero, and they were everything to me. I'm talking about Batgirl and Robin, later Nightwing. They are two of the founding members of the Bat family, both starting out as sidekicks to the Big Bat before becoming their own independent heroes. This is when Robin switched his name to Nightwing. The pair started out as friends and then fell in love later. That's a great foundation. Barbara was Grayson's first love, adorable. Even though they have gone their separate ways a few times and gotten romantically involved with other people, they always come back to each other. When you survive Gotham together, you stay together. Marvel's first ever couple, Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman, just had to be here. While their relationship has had its up and downs, the couple seems to always work it out in the end and has maintained one of the longest marriages in MCU history. One particularly sweet moment was in the Fantastic Four Volume 4, Issue 4, when Mr. Fantastic traveled back in time to paint cave paintings for the Invisible Woman as a monument to her. It's a picture of the whole squad, but she has a big heart around her head. The team discovered it while on a mission. Their wedding was the comic book event of the century, with heroes like the X-Men, Doctor Strange, and the Avengers all in attendance. Even Stan Lee tried to get in. Another pretty iconic MCU wedding wasn't even planned, kind of. One X-Men couple backed out of their ceremony, but everyone was already there and weddings are super expensive, so fan favorite couple Gambit and Rogue stepped up and tied the knot. Even though the tying was unplanned, their improvised vows were absolutely adorable. Gambit saying he loves Rogue with every piece of him and he will try to always be worthy of her love and respect. Rogue vows that no matter what, she'll always find her way back to him. At the end of the issue, their couple series is announced, Mr. and Mrs. X. They have been dating for a long time, but it hasn't always been perfect. Rogue's mutant ability is that she can't touch someone without absorbing their life force and powers. It causes problems. Gambit has stayed by her side through it all, and when Rogue takes a break from the X-Men to figure herself out, he's right there waiting for her when she gets back. Eventually, she does learn to control her powers. Gambit has also caused many a problem for her. At one point, he decided to become a horseman for Apocalypse, Death specifically. In the battle with the X-Men, he is unable to kill her because even though he's a totally different person, his love for her was so great it broke through his mental fog and stopped him. They also have 3 cats together. That's the ultimate commitment. Wanda and Vision are an unlikely duo. Wanda, a mutant with a powerful set of magic skills, and Vision, an android with the capacity of feeling as a human does. Yet somehow, these two fit together perfectly. In the films, Vision helped Wanda work through her trauma. Age of Ultron was not kind to her. They escaped together for a bit to try and live as normally as possible until they were found so they could fight in Infinity War, and I think we all know what happened there. In the comics, they are fine-ish and had a pretty iconic moment that eventually was put into the TV show WandaVision. The pair wanted kids, but Vision is a robot, so that wasn't happening anytime soon, unless of course one of them happened to be one of the most powerful magic wielders in the MCU. Short form, Wanda used magic to create the babies, Wiccan and Speed, or Billy and Tommy, but they never got to raise them. In the show, it was because they weren't real, but in the comics, it was because there was a magic mix-up and the twins ended up getting adopted by human families. In WandaVision, we learned that Vision had plans for the future, buying land for their first house, leaving the deed to Wanda with a heart reading to grow old in. They deserved better. Pepper Potts and Tony Stark make such a perfect pair in the films. It's hard to imagine she ended up with Happy Hogan in the comics. The comics Iron Man did realize that his superhero life was always going to prevent Pepper from living a normal life. He did love and trust her enough at one point to make her the CEO of Stark Industries, something that happened in the films as well. The Starks in the movies, though, are couple goals for real. With a ship name like Pepperoni, that is a setup for success. They started out professional the same way they did in the comics, with Pepper as Tony's secretary, but the chemistry is hard to ignore. Eventually, they end up married with a little girl living in a beautiful house on the lake. Eagle-eyed fans notice that the blue on Pepper's rescue armor, featured in the iconic Endgame battle, is a very similar blue to the dress she wore to the Stark Industries charity event in the first film, where Tony arguably fell in love with her. He is just a romantic at heart. He often puts Pepper's well-being above his own. In Iron Man 3, a missile hits Tony's mansion, and instead of calling an Iron Man armor to himself, he calls it to save Pepper. At the end of the movie, he destroys 33 suits in a romantic fireworks show to show Pepper that he wants to prioritize their relationship. This next couple is as incredible as they come. I'm talking about Bob and Helen Parr, Mr. and Mrs. Incredible themselves. Their super wedding was also a massive hit in their hero world, and they went on to have 3 sweet and super kids. Mr. and Mrs. Incredible have been through it together. They dealt with heroes being all but banned from being in the public, and then needing to raise 3 power unstable super toddlers. Yes, Bob wasn't always 100% honest with Helen when he was off retraining to be a superhero, but they talked it out, they worked out their own problems at the same time as saving the city, and Bob just couldn't stand waiting on the sidelines anymore while bad things were happening all over the city. He has to help people. Elastigirl is not to be ignored here either. In her words, leave the saving of the world to the men? I don't think so. She is not just stretchy, she can beat you up just as easily as her husband can, and has a pilot's license. The pair are still married and have the perfect super family with no plans of that changing. Hawkman and Hawkgirl aren't just an iconic couple in our time, but throughout time. Way back before any of us were around, Hawkman was once the general of the Deathbringers. I think you probably know what they bring, but to expand, the Deathbringers' job was to gather human sacrifices for the Lord Beyond the Void, a bad guy. After each battle, Hawkman would see Hawkgirl, an angel at this point. Technically, she wasn't supposed to reveal herself to him, she just saw good in him and wanted to reach out. Eventually, Hawkman was held responsible for his actions and agreed to be reincarnated until he has saved as many lives as he took, with Hawkgirl being reincarnated beside him for her attachment to him. With each reincarnation, they found each other and fell in love over and over and over again. Adorable! Eventually, Hawkman does save the correct amount of people and the pair face God. He offers a choice. Either the pair be separated in heaven or return to Earth together one last time and live out one final life and meet oblivion at the end. You probably know which one they picked, but just in case they chose one more life together, I literally cried. Couldn't bring this list into existence without Clark Kent and Lois Lane. The pair debuted together in 1938 and have been going strong ever since. There was this whole thing once where Clark forgot he was Superman, and while being just Clark, he married Lois. Then, when she managed to get the Superman side back, he wanted to marry her all over again as Superman. How cute is that? The two ended up having a super kid who later helped found the Super Sons with Batman's son. The foundation for their relationship is strong, they both share similar morals, and Clark has gotta be one of the most righteous and loyal men out there, with her being the same, as well as smart and sweet. It's picture perfect. The sweetest and funniest moment between this pair would have to be in the 1930s Detective Comics. Clark Kent goes to ask her out, but oh no, she has eyes for another, and it's Superman. Girl, she even said Clark sickens her. When I tell y'all I laughed about this for 5 minutes, I mean that. Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson have been the primary Spider-Man couple for most of Spidey's run. His love for her has inspired Spidey to continue fighting for his life on multiple occasions. One time in Spider-Man 98, Peter got stuck under the Daily Bugle and MJ's love helped inspire him to lift and stabilize the building. Another time in Kraven's Last Hunt series, he was buried alive for 2 weeks and almost gave up, but the thought of never seeing MJ again was worse than death and he clawed his way to the surface. He'd die for her, but he also continues choosing to live for her. Even the ever-grouchy J. Jonah Jameson cried at their wedding. Speaking of their marriage, their love was so great that once the devil offered to save Peter's Aunt May in exchange for their love, their marriage. He could have asked for anything and he picked that. The movies have also shown off how cute their love is. There are so many cute moments across the films, but the most iconic iconic would have to be the upside down kiss. There is a reason I put these two at number 1. Peter and MJ's love is so strong that every actor that has played Spider-Man in a movie has ended up dating their MJ counterpart. The most recent being Tom Holland and Zendaya, the cutest couple in Hollywood. Thank you so much, y'all, for listening along today. Make your mark on the comment section down below and let me know your favorite couple either on or off this list. This is Juliana signing off. See you later.